Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is September 12th. It is also Friday. It's been a pretty interesting day in the news world, also a bit of a slow one, but an interesting one at that. But hopefully, all you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty all right. Didn't do much today. Wrote a paper for my psychology class. I learned what APA format was today, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not a fan, but I learned what it is. Outside of that, though, hopefully all you guys are doing well. I know I said it a million times, but you guys are goated. If you're new here, please subscribe as we are on our way to 500 subscribers, and all the support would be greatly appreciated. And with that all being said, let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment, as we do, the first topic we have today is Republicans are telling Trump to tone it down. Republican Representative Thomas Massie has said he includes Trump on the list of those who should tone it down on the rhetoric of Charlie Kirk's assassination. Massey said, there's a lot of rhetoric, and the president himself engages in it. He called it a hostile act to co-sponsor the Epstein resolution. This isn't shocking to hear, of course, as Massey and Trump aren't the biggest fan of each other. But Massey is one of the very few Republicans to oppose Trump, which is very interesting, or which is very cool. I got really distracted because a bird just landed on the twig outside of the tree on my window, and now he's gone. Goodbye, bird. Thomas Massie is one of those few Republicans who continuously oppose the Trump administration, and it's great to see that continue here. A lot of Republicans kind of just follow Trump blindly, which has led to a lot of stupid shit happening. We all know that, but not all of them. Which is nice. We may not agree on all of the things, but I can at least respect, that he won't bow to tyranny. In other news, talking about the files, we also have one topic as one more signature is required to release the files. GOP Representative Thomas Massie once again is one signature away from forcing the floor to vote on the bipartisan legislation to release the Epstein files. Holy English. Massie needs 218 signatures and currently sits at 217, which is set to happen later this month after a Democrat wins a special election on September 23rd in Arizona. Many popular female Republicans have also refused to remove their names from the list of signatures in order to release the files, despite pressure from the White House. This needs to happen ASAP. The files need to be released to the public, full and unredacted. Is that going to be the case, though? Probably not. But the faster we act, I believe the higher chance that we might have in getting the most information possible. The files need to be released. The people need to know who's in them so we know who to remove from society. They should all be in prison. If they are in the Epstein files, they should go to prison for the rest of their lives. Plain and simple, that is my thoughts on that. I've said that a million times. Anyone within the Epstein files should go to prison for the rest of their lives. Anyways, talking about Charlie Kirk, because we still got to talk about it as information is still coming in. The first one being Charlie Kirk's shooter is now in custody. Officials have identified 22-year-old Tyler Robinson as the killer of Charlie Kirk. Utah Governor Spencer Cox said at a press conference, "We got him." Robinson is expected to be charged with aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice. Investigators were able to find this out after they interviewed Cox's roommate, and he showed the authorities messages on Discord between the two. He was also turned in by his father. This is good news, as anyone who murders anyone should be sent to jail. Duh, obviously. The case will be very interesting to watch as well. I will say that, this is going to be something very interesting to see how it plays out over the next few months and years, likely, because we all know how the U.S. legal system likes to work. But hey, he's also MAGA, so maybe he'll get some sympathy, just as Charlie is getting right now. Wouldn't be shocked. You never know. But it's interesting that they took to blaming the left just for him to turn out to be MAGA. We'll talk about that a little more in a bit. In other news, before we talk about that, there's another thing I want to talk about as Republicans want to build a statue of Charlie Kirk. Isn't that interesting? Republican Representative Anna Paulina Luna sent a letter to the House Speaker Mike Johnson to install a statue for Charlie Kirk within the U.S. Capitol. Luna said on a post on Twitter, "I owe my entire political career to Charlie Kirk. I would quite literally not be in office today if it weren't for him. Even when my own party was working against me, Charlie endorsed me and campaigned to help me win election." Luna asks to honor Kirk's legacy by having a statue placed in Washington, D.C. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I mean, this dude is a podcaster. Like, are we serious? He does not deserve to have a statue. When it comes to history, Charlie Kirk will be insignificant, and the only thing he will be remembered for is indoctrinating a bunch of young men into MAGA. Like, genuinely. We have more important things to be worrying about right now, like the Epstein files, like ICE, like the big beautiful bill, like people struggling financially, like the fact that there are more people who are unemployed than jobs that are being created in our country. Like there are way more important things to worry about than Charlie Kirk. Yet we're talking about the idea of him getting a statue in the nation's capital. We're talking about people comparing the man to Martin Luther King Jr. and JFK? What the fuck are you talking about? These are two of the most influential leaders in American history, and we're comparing Charlie Kirk to them, saying he deserves a statue. That is insane. Genuinely, it really is. I will say this much: just as statues go up, they go down. And if Charlie Kirk gets a statue, once this administration is done with, I am sure it will go away like that. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment. It's still kind of related, but wanted to throw a topic so other news, wasn't there because it's always there. The Kirk shooter's grandma says that the entire family is MAGA. Tyler Robinson, the shooter of Charlie Kirk, has been confirmed to be MAGA along with the rest of his family. This comes as MAGA has been quick to frame the left for being the killers of Charlie Kirk. But once again, it was their own people. She spoke with the Daily Mail on Friday after the news of Robinson's arrest broke out. She said, "My son, his dad, is a Republican," Debbie told the outlet. "Most of my family are Republicans. I don't know any single one who is a Democrat." So quick to point fingers, aren't they? It hadn't even been 30 minutes before MAGA was blaming the radical left for this. You know how many comments I got about that? A lot. So many said we were at war with the left and the left didn't do a thing. They kind of just sat on the sidelines in this one. We were just sitting around, not doing much. We're at war with you. That's basically what that was. That is basically what happened here. We didn't do anything. People on the left didn't do shit. And MAGA was so quick to point fingers when it was them themselves. It was their own people. It's interesting how common that is too. But I'm glad they caught the shooter. Hopefully he goes to jail for a very long time. Nobody should have to die to gun violence, and anyone who commits gun violence should be in prison for a long time. But, it's interesting how many people were willing to point fingers so quick. I wonder how many of the haters will leave comments on this one. Not that I care. You guys can go fucking rot in a hole for all I care. Anyways, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed. It has been an interesting one, that's for sure. Outside of that, though, if you're new here, please subscribe as we are on our way to 500 subscribers. It's definitely been an interesting route so far, but we're getting close. So if you're new here, please subscribe, claim your OG ticket, if you will. If you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I will need to pay for in college, like food, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support. It means the world to me. Thank you all so much for watching today's episode, and I will see you all in the next one.